Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. These are recorded live Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the show live on over there, 5 different platforms: YouTube and Odyssey and Rumble and Twitch and D Live, and any additional ones that I might want to add at any later date. You can have a look over the website, switchedtolinux.com, for any more information, when the streams are, and stuff like that. Anyway, let's go ahead and get diving right on into the business news, business and Sillyville here. Amazon's big dreams for Alexa fall short. Alexa ended up being kind of like one of the things that... one of the things that was one of these transitional technologies. I'm trying to think of another good example. Somebody will probably have one in the comments there, but it was one of the ones that just kind of started. It had a very short life as it jumped to something way, way better. Maybe Laserdiscs, although Laserdiscs were around for a long time before DVDs, but they were not really ever mainstreamed or popular. But Alexa, basically, it's being undercut right now by all the AI and ChatGPT and stuff like that. And so with that being done, a lot of the big job cuts that had just happened, a lot of those job cuts turned out to be large portions of people working on Alexa, because what they're finding right now is people are not using Alexa for anything they thought they might be. Most people are just using it for either a glorified music box or to order products. That's basically almost all of Alexa traffic. So not much that is massively useful for the company. And so they're looking at this going, well, how can we get AI working in the middle to make it even better? And then, of course, now we'll have AI talking things that are always perpetually listening, and it's going to be, even worse. Think Vicky from iRobot, and that's kind of what's going to go on here. But that's really Amazon is I don't know if they're really bummed about it, or if they realized this was going to happen, or maybe they thought people were going to be a lot more excited about utilizing these services than they are. But with all that being said, Alexa is definitely underperforming what Microsoft thought it might actually do. And furthermore, Amazon is closing 8 Amazon Go convenience stores in the latest tightening of physical retail. I think Amazon played it fairly safe here in just saying, we're just kind of streamlining some things. It has nothing to do with the massive amounts of crime. Because also this week, Walmart declared that they are closing all of their stores in Portland. So anybody at Portland that likes Walmart, you're out of luck. Because citing basically, massive amounts of crime and the police won't do anything about it. And that's kind of what's behind the scenes here on GreekWire. They're talking about the different stores, and 2 impacted stores in Seattle are located downtown in the Macy's building at 3rd Avenue and Pine Street, and at 4th Avenue and Pike Street. Both stores have been closed for some time, according to Amazon, and are located in part of downtown that has been especially troubled by crime and open-air drug use. Kind of like when you let criminals do what they want in your streets, it tends to cause detrimental things for the people wanting to engage in business. Who wants to go into an Amazon store when you come outside and get mugged by some active drug user outside who just wants your free cookies or whatever else, And that's the problem here, is that I don't know if these are closing because, the stores aren't performing because, Amazon just needs to cut their costs. Or are they losing their money because of the massive amounts of crime? Because I'm noticing, all the stores are closing down seem to be in Democratic hellholes. Or just high crime hellholes because of the policies in those particular cities. And so 2 stores in New York City, 4 in San Francisco will also close. Nothing bad is going on in any of those cities. I can't figure it out. San Francisco is just a beautiful brown and pointy place, very interesting. New York City, New York City, San Francisco. Remember San Francisco? If you guys missed the band news, there was a Ukrainian refugee that wanted to go back to war-torn Ukraine because San Francisco was so bad. So bad it is. See band news for more info. Of course, not over here on the Tubies. Microsoft may soon be testing Windows 12. This is interesting. The biggest takeaway of the Windows 12 New Canary channel getting experimental builds. So the biggest take home from these are more restrictive computer uses. So it takes all those computers that Windows 10 uses because they can't be on 11, and yeah, you can't use those, and probably half of those on Windows 11, yeah, you can't use those either. It's like the latest and greatest stuff. But here's the other fun rub. Apparently, according to all of the next builds, it's mostly designed to be a cloud run system. So apparently Windows 12 is basically going to be a cloud-based operating system, which is, I mean, back when I was teaching in the universities, the computers we had there were basic, simple workstations, and all of the basic data and all of the basic processing stuff, all of that was on the cloud. Okay, all of that was over there on the cloud systems. And so with all that being on the cloud systems that we saw there, the problem is that if the network went down, you didn't have access to any of your data at any point in time until the network comes back up. Well, if they're trying to do a similar thing utilizing Microsoft's cloud as part of that, it's going to be a big problem. Now, this is all basic speculation right now, but that's just what some of the people looking at the first very, very preliminary code. This is very preliminary, but that's what it is. And they're looking at the possibility of cloud-based systems, so wouldn't surprise me to see quite a bit more of that. And now on to our final story. There's been this fighting going back and forth about work from home and don't work from home, and then of course you get your Ramsey guys that are all running around like, if you just work from home, you're just in your sweatpants eating Rocky Road ice cream. Completely out of touch over there. It's interesting how much they changed in the last 5 years. I can't even tolerate the program anymore. It's weird. I used to back when I was a college professor, I didn't listen all 3 hours at a time. Can't listen to a single segment anymore. It's become the most atrocious nonsense ever, the most corporate nonsense ever. Of course, they're all doing that. And then there was another report that came out recently suggesting, particularly among the programmers, 40% of people are like, yeah, I'm working from home. If you don't like it, I'll quit. And, in some jobs, it does make sense that you should be able to work from home. Some jobs, it makes sense to be in the office. Some jobs have the more hybrid approach. I know there's the Linus Tech Tips debate going on a little bit. I think Louis Rossman covered a little bit, and then Joshua Fluke did 2 videos on it, looking at that, and all that kind of stuff. And people are like, oh, he's uncompromising. He only lets us work from home 2 days a week. I can understand when a company wants employees there some of the time. I can understand some of that, let's let that work out. But, having a little bit. But now, though, the big problem that we're seeing is that businesses are now spotting that a large portion of the data breaches, the malware and things are coming into unprotected endpoints at work at home offices. In fact, there's an article I didn't include here, but apparently, I don't know. I don't think it was the primary LastPass hack, but I think it was the secondary one that was the developer's computer. Well, how the hackers actually got in is an unpatched version of Plex. So if you have Plex on your computer and you do not have the latest version, there were some security vulnerabilities known in Plex. Well, this senior developer for LastPass, they had a vulnerability that an older version of Plex, and it was the backdoor in Plex that allowed the people to bust into his system and wreak havoc in the system because of that. And so that's really one of the principles. Of course, the real solution is, okay, if you're going to be a work-at-home employee, then the company gives you a computer and you're not allowed to do anything on this computer that's not specifically work related. So ergo, it wouldn't have Plex on it. That's simple. You just set up a little laptop over here with your Plex on it, and you put your little mouse mover over here, and then you raise your monitor up a little bit and you attach your web camera to your screen. And so while you're transfixed on your movie, the camera sees you looking at the screen. So, you get all the best of all the worlds. So there you have it. But the new report suggests 2/3 of the firms suffered a data breach in the last 2 or 3 years. Could be in part attributed to a remote working environment. Mostly talking about people having unpatched software, people having a lot of other software. On personal computers, there's a lot of software that's somewhat sketchy. And a lot of people that aren't really, they have computers for the job, but they're not super computer savvy. They'll install whatever they find on the internet. Well, we know that malvertising campaigns and SEO campaigns, black hat SEO campaigns, are putting a lot of free software on the top of Google that is actually malicious software. So you have to be really careful at where you source your software from. Of course, here in Linux, where we're using our software repositories involved in the Linux distributions, we are very safe from that. Not 100%, but way safer than doing an internet search and clicking the first link that we find, which is probably malware. Of course, if you want to download something like VLC, make sure you're getting it directly from VLC, not from some other site like, oh, download our VLC or whatever else. Make sure you're getting it directly from VLC, which is, I think, Videoland. I don't know. Somebody will drop the link in there somewhere. But this will finally give that death blow to work at home. More companies are going to use this as a means to say, oh, not allowed to work at home anymore. You got to come back to the office because we got to stop the malware. And honestly, this would be a good argument to use. If you really want to put an end to work at home, this is a good argument that can be used for that. Well, if you'd like to have one of your cool own aliens in tinfoil hats up here, you can head over, look over at our shop, shop.switchedtolinux.com. You can grab a t-shirt, you can grab a hoodie, you can grab a coffee cup. Where's my coffee cup? There's no coffee in it right now, but hey, there's my coffee cup. There's an alien in a tinfoil hat. We also have, as we discussed yesterday, the Contributor Code of Conducts, RMRF Contributor Code of Conducts. We have those shirts over there as well, and we even have some cats in tinfoil hats. If you dig around here deeper on this, look at this, cats in tinfoil hats on a shopping bag. Isn't that awesome? So with that, guys, we're going to head on over to Sillyville, of course, after you swing by shop.switchedtolinux.com. First up in Sillyville, of course, we got to have some Elon Musk going in. Elon Musk thinks everything's bigger in Texas. He plans to build his own town, Snailbrook, a Texas utopia. Yeah. Elon Musk giving up on the promised land a few weeks ago. We learned about relocating. So he's sending his one of his engineering plants back to California. I'm not sure why. Why on God's green earth might he do that? I'm sure he has his reason. But whatever else. But he still has all this land. He's planning to build his own town as part of thousands of acres newly purchased pasture and farmland outside of the Texas capital, according to the deeds and other land records and people familiar with the project. In meetings with landowners and real estate agents, Mr. Musk and employees of his companies have described his vision as sort of a Texas utopia along the Colorado River where his employees can live and work. Sounds like a cultish commune. Do they all worship like lithium batteries or something? I'm not sure. But if you'd like to join Elon's hippie commune, I don't know, he might have a spot there, but there you have. Sounds like Elon's big plans in being in Texas with minimal government regulation is a definite big pull. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say this again. I said this on a recent video. Of course, I did slightly misquote the thing. Texas is not nearly as free of a state as you guys think you are. I see all these guys in Texas. Oh, the free state of Texas. Texas is the 5th most regulated state in the country. I said third on a video not too long ago, and I looked up my resources. Oh, my apologies. It's 5th. The 5th most regulated state in our country is Texas. All right. It is not this amazing place of freedom. No, that would be like Wyoming you're thinking of. Or there's a few other states that even have, I think, fewer rules than that out there. But the thing is that Texas is not nearly the freedom state everyone says it is. That's kind of a trope, and you all need to stop lying about it. But anyway, if you want to head on over and be part of Elon Musk's town where Elon Musk gets to make the rules, you can head on over there and join the hippie commune of lithium batteries or something. I'm not sure. With, I guess, weirdos who have fun with themselves in gay theaters. All right. An investigation is launched into complaints of Tesla steering wheels coming off mid-drive. What do you need a steering wheel for? You're sleeping anyway behind the wheel of Tesla. How many of those videos have we seen? You know, you're driving down the road and your Tesla steering wheel comes off. Well, this can't be good. You know, U.S. auto safety regulators have opened an investigation on Tesla Model Y SUVs after getting 2 complaints that steering wheels came off while being driven. What do you do in the middle of that? I mean, yeah. So they say there's estimated 120,000 vehicles from the 2023 model. Agency says both cases, Model Ys, were delivered to customers with missing bolts that hold the wheel to the steering column. They were saving costs. It's a down economy. We had to cut our costs. You didn't need all the bolts in that steering column. Two will do, you know. Friction Fit held the steering wheels on, but they separated when force was exerted while the SUVs were being driven. Agency says documents posted on the website on Wednesday that both incidents happened while SUVs had low mileage on them. Messages were left seeking comment from Tesla, and they said, sorry, Musk is down in his hippie commune. We'll get back to you later. All right. At first, a Tesla service center gave the owner a cost estimate of $103 to repair the problem. The service center apologized for what appears to be a text message posted on Twitter. Owner wrote that he had lost faith in Tesla and asked for a refund. The service center removed the charge and wrote that Tesla doesn't have a return policy, but he could contact the sales and delivery team. Yeah, I think I would probably lose faith in the car company if the steering wheel came off of my hand. What is this, a Looney Tunes cartoon? You know, but to each his own, I guess. Well, do you hate that new Windows 11 hippie, like hipster modern look, that amazing look? Well, you actually can use this theme to use Windows 2000 mod, including Clippy, bringing in nostalgia. Internet Explorer 5.5 is also in the mix, sort of, fully functional, until they uninstall it, I guess. So, of course, they want to modernize it, but you can turn the clocks back with various mods naturally. But few efforts transform your Windows 11 installation to look like Windows 2000, complete with some functioning legacy apps and interface elements, such as Clippy. Oh, Lord help us. Why do we not have a picture of Clippy in this article? Okay, well, I guess we see him over there. All right. There you go, guys. Look at that. Like, if I could get this out of the box Windows 11 with the 2000 mod, I might just think about putting, never mind, I'm not that crazy. But you can actually get the Windows 2000 mod with Clippy for your thing. And on to our last article here. This was from Saul Boob over on the Matrix community. If you are not joining us over there on the Matrix community, join us on over there. We got, I don't know, roughly 100 or so folks over there. You can find the link if you can't find it in the public directory there. Just head on over to the website, switchedtolinux.com. Head on down to the bottom, and in the social media section, there is a direct link to the Matrix room over there. Now, of course, this week, Steve Lado did a video talking about what he called the worst court case he's ever seen, which was a case where the court actually came down and said that after the police told the man he's under arrest 4 times, he wasn't really under arrest. So all of the things that he said before the Miranda rights were read to him were, those were still admissible because they weren't violation of a Miranda rights, even though he was not really free to leave. And they did tell him 4 times he was under arrest. That was a bad court case. This one is worse. A German court says that the DNS service Quad9 is implicated in any copyright infringement at the domain it resolves. What? What type of out-of-touch moron made this decision? All right, so let's get into the background here. If you don't know how the internet works, you have servers which have big IP addresses. We'll just use IPv4, so it's going to have a block of up to 3 digits separated by a dot, 3 digits dot, 3 digits dot. Okay, or three digits. So 4 groups of digits between 1 and 3 digits separated by dots. So you have this. That's really where everything is at. And then the domain name, switchedtolinux.com, has to know where in the world to go with this. So there's cascading groups of DNS registers that indicate where different things are based on different directories. It starts with name servers, and it starts with glue records, really. So you set up a glue record, and you set up a glue record globally, which says you go to switchedtolinux.com, it points to this particular IP address. And then so you have this, and then as you go onto the internet, we'll have a DNS resolver in there somewhere. Now, if you've never messed with any of that, your ISP gives you a resolver, and it's something either on them or whatever else it would be. You could also use Cloudflare's, which is 1.1.1.1, or you could use Google, which is 8.8.8.8, or you could use, in this case, Quad 9, 9.9.9.9. What these are doing is these are different directories that will slightly modify the web addresses. And in some cases, like Quad 9, it will filter out everything it knows. And Cloudflare does this. Everything it knows is malware. It just kills it. So if you want one layer of security on your web, you can go into your internet, your network manager settings, and you can specify your DNS servers. If you specify your DNS servers and use the Quad 9 or Cloudflare's 1.1.1.1, it will actually filter out a lot of known malware. All right. Now, what happens here is Quad 9 apparently had two things. Now, what I don't know is if you're not using Quad 9, did these also resolve? Because they're not completely clear as to exactly what site, but they're saying there's two websites that were pushing pirated information. And the fact that Quad 9 allowed those sites to go through means that Quad 9 is now culpable for the piracy. Making no sense at all. Now, if these are two sites run by Quad 9 and they're hijacking it, then technically Quad 9 would actually be malware. So that would be problematic. However, that's really not the case. And I wasn't able to see exactly what the sites were to see what their real sites were. But basically, what they're saying is since Quad 9 points this domain name to this server, Quad 9 is liable for what's on the server, which doesn't make any sense. Unless, of course, they knew that they were specifically making a change to push an otherwise unavailable website to that server. I could understand, but that does not appear to be what's going on in the case. So they have an injunction against them. The Regional Court of Hamburg, makes me hungry for McDonald's, asserts a claim against Quad 9 based on the principles of the German legal concept of liability. On the grounds that Quad 9 makes a contribution to the copyright infringement that gives rise to liability. In that, Quad 9 resolves the domain name of a website A onto the associated IP address. The German interferer liability has been criticized for years because of its extensive application to internet cases. German lawmakers explicitly abolished interferer liability for access providers in 2017, amendment to the German Telemedia Act, primarily to protect Wi-Fi operators from being held liable for costs as interferers. This court has sentenced the Zurich-based DNS service Quad 9 on pain of administrative fine of 250,000 euros or up to 2 years imprisonment. The small resolver operator was prohibited from translating two related domains to the corresponding IP addresses. Via these domains, users can find tracks of Sony music albums offering via share space. So in other words, Sony's like, hey, punish them. They're like, all right, what are you going to give us? I don't know. Money? Sure. All right. It follows the reason that copyright liability and complete neutral interface services like Quad 9 would be even stricter than that of social networks, which fall under the infamous Article 17 of the directive. Basically, this is a bunch of nonsense. This is like, yeah, Quad 9 is responsible for what's on somebody else's server. All right. Well, that is certainly the stupidest case in the world. So that one from Steve Leto is certainly beat by this. Although I guess if police do tell you you're under arrest 4 times and fail to read your Miranda rights, it does not necessarily mean you're under arrest, I guess. I don't know. Those are things to think about. Well, anyway, if you want to help support the channel, we do have a Subscribestar page, subscribestar.com/switchedtolinux. You can jump on over there and help support the show. With that, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.